Today's guest is Young Yankee, a rapper out of Salt Lake City. Young Yankee is out to make sure the world knows his name. A man of vision and ambition. Welcome, Young Yankee.
Hey,
Woo!
man.
We in the
Glad to
building
have.
live.
Hey, man. Glad to have you here with us.
Believe it, man. Again, I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Of course, happy to have you here. All right, let's start the way back at the beginning. Where were you born and raised, and how did music first come into your life?
Oh boy, here we go, my man. So I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah. Fun fact about me, I have moved over 60 times in my life.
Holy.
Yeah, all over the place, my man. So I like
Crazy.
to claim the West Coast. You feel me? I come from
Okay.
the West Coast. Growing up, mom and pops, amazing people. I love them to death. But, they taught me some things in life on what not to do necessarily. Every time we heard a at the door, it meant pack your stuff up. It's time to go,
Wow.
So that was our life for a long time. I moved out at about 15, 16 years old, and baseball was my everything. I was talking to the Seattle Mariners, Chicago White Sox. I was talking to a bunch of colleges, one in North Dakota that I was ready to sign and get moving forward. Baseball was everything. 10/21/2014, I'm actually in my home studio right now, but 10/21/2014, my best friend in the world, Devin Wolf, he took his own life. The night before that, him and I finished our very first record together. Since eighth grade, him and I were buddies and stuff. And again, since I moved around a lot, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. You feel me? I didn't have like a super tight connection of people. It was really just me, Dev, and a couple homies. But we used to go to his place, make music all the time. Whoop-de-whoop. Again, on 10/20/2014, him and I actually finished our very first record. 10/21 later that night, he's gone.
Wow.
It shook me up intensely. I remember being in class at Hillcrest High School and seeing a tweet that said "Rip Devin Wolf," and I was losing it. I was like, "There's no chance. There's no way." So I text him and I'm blowing him up, bro. Where you at, bro? Talk to me, bro. This, that, and the other. And now 15 text messages have gone through and I haven't gotten a single reply. I'm starting to get a little nervous, right? And so I'm starting to freak out. And I jump on the freeway and I just bolt 100 miles per hour to his house from my play or from my high school. And when I get there, I see just one cop car out front. So I'm thinking, oh, this dummy, he just tried to do something stupid, but he didn't go through with it. He was just, who knows what was going on in his head, but I'm gonna talk to him right now. I get in there and Mama Nikki, his mama, but she's like my second mama. Mama Nikki was just crying, being held by an officer. And I knew right then, like, everything just changed. Everything had just changed. I knew for a fact my life was not going to be the same. I started going to the baseball field and the baseball field didn't cut it. Again, growing up with moving a million times and not having anybody in my life, the baseball field was my sanctuary. The baseball field was where I got peace. Now, the only thing that gave me peace was having headphones on and listening to my man, Devin Wolf. He used to make rock music and stuff. And so I would just be bumping, even if I was on my way to church, I'm bumping his rock music, you feel me? Like it was the only thing that kept me going. So during that time period, I start realizing, damn, music's powerful. Like there is so much in there that like, again, if you're going to church, right, you're going to listen to something upbeat, or real soft or whatever, make you feel uplifted. You're going to go to a party, you're trying to turn up and hear some ratchet shit. That way you feel good. Like music creates a mood. It's just so powerful. And so 10/21/2014, once he passed away, that's when I started taking music a lot more serious. I started actually looking into how to make music, how to produce music, how to record music, really take it serious. It's no more just a hobby at this point. I want to know how to do it for real. And that's when the journey kind of began. I started recording in my grandma's basement. That didn't last too long because, again, all of the drama that I was going through at home, I ended up moving out at about 16, 17, which is right around the time that he passed away. So next thing you know, I'm just couch surfing with all the homies, random places, and I just bring my little studio set up anywhere that I could go. And the music's been going ever since. And so that's pretty much the origin of it, man. Like, again, born in Salt Lake, but really was raised all over the West Coast. I was a baseball kid at heart, hence the Yankees, right? Like, I'm a big Yankee guy. My grandpa even gave me the name Young Yankee while we were playing wiffle ball baseball in his front yard. I hit a home run and stuff, past second base, and my grandpa goes, "Look at that Young Yankee." So there's so many, everything is so intertwined with my story. But That's pretty much the origins, my man. That's pretty much where it all started. That's where it all became.
That's amazing. Okay, that's a lot to unpack.
Right out the gate.
Yeah, I like that though. Let's go through it a little bit. So you
Please.
said you moved like 60 times. Where did you mostly move? Like, what was your general area?
Yeah. So we were in Utah for a lot of it. Northern Utah, Salt Lake, all over the city. So Murray, Cottonwood Heights, Holiday, Draper, Sandy, anywhere in Salt Lake, we pretty much lived there multiple times. I remember living in Idaho. I remember living in California for a little bit, Nevada for a little bit. Pretty much everywhere, again, West Coast related. But mostly it was mostly Salt Lake. My grandma and my grandpa were big. My pops, again, wasn't around in the picture all that much. He was in and out of my life since a young age. And so my grandpa was a big role model, again, the one that gave me the Young Yankee name and everything like that. But he had a beautiful home in Cottonwood Heights and stuff. And so I've lived with my grandma and grandpa multiple times. My mom, she had her demons and would struggle with her things. And so we would be living there and then she would say, screw this place. And then we'd go move to buttfuck wherever the hell. And then 2 months later, she's struggling again. So we go right back to grandma and grandpa's. So I lived with my grandma and grandpa multiple times. I would say that Cottonwood Heights, Willow Green Drive, that area, I was over there a lot. So
That's awesome. That's actually really close to where I grew up.
word.
How do you feel that moving so much affected you? Like, how do you feel it changed you growing up?
Yeah, man. Again, dude, like I didn't have a whole lot of friends. Like, again, I didn't have a lot of people to like, I see people to this day who are like, yeah, I've known him since the second grade. And I'm like, huh? That's a real thing? Like I saw someone the other day, I met someone not too long ago and they had never moved out of their parents' house and they were like 21 and I'm not talking smack at all. Like, yo, if I could live with my parents until I was 22, I would have loved to because it would have saved a bunch of craziness. But I would say like I grew independent immensely. I had nobody but myself for a long, long time. And so I love Russ, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. You feel me? Like I don't need him, I don't need her. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. That's just the mentality that I guess I grew into while being by myself for years on years and moving around and never having really anybody in my corner for longer than 6 months, you know? So I would say it definitely had a big effect on me.
Interesting. Do you feel that that sense of independence still affects the way you go about not just making music, but the music business part of things right now?
100%. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's actually a couple posts on my Instagrams talking about record opportunities and stuff like that. We had Rockstar Records reach out a long time ago. We were contacted by RCA, which was a huge moment. But I didn't even consider signing any of that paperwork. Why? Again, 100% independent mindset. I believe in the independence. I believe that that's going to be what gets me out of any quote unquote sticky situation. No one's going to pick me up for me, right? No one's going to want to do anything for me. It's all going to come within. And so self-discipline is a huge part of that. But I would definitely say it all had a big contributing factor. And it's literally what dictates my music career as I move forward. Like I'm putting out a vlog series right now, The Come Up. I'm on episode 3, about to put out episode 4. And I'm very grateful to have people help me film and stuff, but I'm the one that's sitting in there putting all these video clips together. And I don't know, I'm in the music game. I'm not in the video game, you feel me? But again, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. At the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm gonna take the initiative to try and get where I wanna be, you know? So I would definitely say it had a huge impact on where I wanna go and who I am as a person, so.
How early did you decide you wanted to take the independent route?
To be honest, I would say before I even knew I wanted to be a musician, because again, my boy Devin Wolf, he had a whole studio in his bedroom. Like it was a guest bedroom and it was all tricked out. So he had his bedroom and then one room over was this ballin' ass studio, drums, guitars, bass guitars, pianos, keyboards, big speakers, small speakers, everything, big microphone, small microphone, everything. And so when I saw that this dude was in 8th grade and had already done all of this by himself, I figured, who the hell needs anybody. Like, I don't need anybody's help. If he can do it, I can do it. Like, that's my homie. Like, this is my partner in crime. If he's doing it, I'm gonna do it with him. And he never considered signing. He never, honestly, if my boy Devin Wolf was in that studio and every single time that we were working together, he was talking about, I'm trying to get signed. I guarantee you I would have that exact same mentality. But because he was so, look it, we don't need anybody. We can make this song in this room and put it on SoundCloud tonight. Just us. We don't need anybody's help. We can shoot the cover art in the backyard. We can record and film and make the whole song in the bedroom. And then we can upload it on the internet and have the entire world see it. Dude, like, that's as independent as it takes. That's as independent as it gets. You feel me? So I think Devin had a big part of that, to be honest.
That's awesome. So one big thing I understand about what labels can offer is connections. You know, they know people and they know the people with the money, especially. How has it been trying to build connections as an independent artist? Was that hard for you at first? And how has it kind of evolved?
That's interesting. Because I would say yes and no. I would say I've been very blessed to have a lot of connections just kind of come to me. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But I would also say that there was a long time where it was the classic, and it sounds like a cliche, but the mixtape out of the trunk type situation where I literally was just slinging my project to anybody who was willing to talk to me. So that through that alone, I was able to gain a lot of networks. I mean, I remember getting put onto shows that I would have never, I had no business being a part of, but it was just because I talked to so-and-so, or I talked to this person, or I talked to that person. So I would definitely say that it comes with time. You're going to get better at networking the more that you do it and such, but it's an interesting grind. That's a whole nother animal in itself. You've probably heard it. Everyone heard it. Your network is your net worth. So the more people you talk to, the more people you know, it's only going to help. Like you said, the big labels, they already have all of those connections. Us little guys, we got to go fight for all of those connections. So make sure that you do it every single day, because one connection can make a huge difference. So I remember I got put onto a full tour not too long ago, all because of one connection I made back in 2015. So everything matters, you know, every person, every handshake, everything. So
yeah. So what's the way you tend to approach these connections, these new people? Like how do you go about building them now?
Definitely. Luckily at this point, I'm not I'm not trying to be like a complete douchebag, but I am self-aware. My music isn't trash anymore, you know? I'm not completely garbage. When I first started, it might have been a little rough, but now we're at a point where I'm confident in my music. And since I'm so confident in my music, I don't have a problem reaching out to people and saying, hey, this is what I offer. This is what I can do. I feel like the biggest thing is if someone was to hit you up right now and was like, hey, give me this, give me that, give me this, and then give me that, you're going to be like, bro, who the hell are you? Now, if someone comes and says, hey, let me help you with this, let me help you with that, you tell me how I can help you with this, and exchange, all I ask for is one shout out or one that or one this, whatever it might be. People are so gimme, gimme, gimme and instant gratification. They're not in it for the long haul, that it's tough to make a connection that way. Again, like think about it as like a door-to-door salesman, like if you just go knocking on the door, 9 out of 10 times people are like, bro, I don't want to see you on my patio. Like, come on now. But like, if you have something to offer them, they're really going to need it. Well, then, hey, check off the box. Everyone happy. It's a win-win, So you're going to find people who don't want anything to do with you. You're going to find people who have no desire to help or talk to you. But as long as you're not just asking for the handout and just asking for the gimme, 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 and you go out there and you're offering your help, you're offering how to make their brand easier, better, do whatever the heck it might be, offer your 2 cents. You never know, a great project can come out of that. So
perfect. So you're independent on the business side. How about how you create songs and create beats and stuff like that? Are you more independent still with that too? Like, do you do all of that yourself? Kind of like the Russ take I take,
right?
Or do you collaborate with more people?
I love collaboration, but I'm also picky as hell. So I'm very tough with my music. I'm willing to make music with anybody, but just because I'm willing to make the music doesn't mean we're going to put out the music. Doesn't mean we're going to drop that music. I have 100,000 songs on my hard drive that will never see the light of day, but I needed to make them, or I wanted to make them. It was fun to make them, or whatever it is. Collaboration's interesting. I would say that I love to collaborate, but again, because I'm so picky and I'm such a control freak, I'm such a perfectionist on my brand, that it just kind of depends on if we're going to move forward with the process, I guess you could say. I do have a studio, Flaws Incorporated. That's like my brand. That's my record label, pretty much. That's my group. Shout out to Colty Beckstead. He's helping me with that. Matty Boy from BayTL Studios. BayTL Studios and Flaws Inc. They're kind of like one studio place, one hub up in North Salt Lake. So we do own our own little recording studio.
Awesome.
Love the independent factor of that, where it's like I'm actually supposed to be going in there in a couple hours today. I love the fact that I can just go to my own studio and just kick it all day and work on music. That's
Awesome.
paradise. Also, I'm in my home studio right now. I've got my microphone set up to the right of me. I got my monitor set up right here, some sound foam and such. Literally, I'm a big believer in, again, in that independence. So if you're not going to be working on it 24/7, like, how do you expect to move forward? LeBron James got to be LeBron James because he was shooting free throws on his basketball hoop, on his driveway, or whatever the hell it might be. You feel me? For me, I'm not going to move forward in this record industry if I'm not working on music consistently. So where I eat is where I have my setup. That way I'm always working, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. How often would you say you're writing? Like how often per day or per week or whatever?
Writing is interesting. I would say producing, I do producing almost daily. Writing is more of writing's interesting. I have a song coming out right now. I just barely shot the video for it, but it's called Deceitful Love. It's going to be off my Deceitful Love EP and such, coming out really, really soon. That song, the hook, the chorus, I wrote it in the shower. It just kind of came to me. Like I was chilling, doing my own thing. And next thing you know, I get hit in the head with what I felt like was just some random poetry. And so I'm like reciting this type of quote unquote poem in my head. Next thing you know, 20 minutes later, I'm in the studio because I'm always at the studio, right? And I'm using that same poem. And next thing you know, this guitar that I just found and the poem that's in my head, they just perfect. They match better than I could ever imagine. And now I've got a record. And so writing is interesting. Writing comes to me, but there's also times where obviously you got to kick it into gear and you got to write. So I would say whenever I have a finished product, a full beat, the beat's done, this, that, and the other, right? I start to write there. When I'm all alone, nobody near me, I have time to just be me. I feel like that's also very great time for me to write because I'm very authentic in that moment. I'm being 100% vulnerable. I don't care about anybody's judgment or anything like that, you know? So writing is interesting. I would say that I've had times during the Defiant album, I actually, like, my life went sideways during that time period. I ended up living in a motel for a weekend. Like, it was a very crazy time in my life. I wrote 13 songs in 2 days. You feel me? Like everything was just going. It was just, I felt it. I had so much to say and it happened. Then there's times where it's like, yo, I've had this beat forever, a full year. I'm actually working on a song called Opening Day. And that has been a 2-year project so far. That song has still been going on for 2 years.
Wow.
And it's like, I capture the moment and I write a little bit, but then it's like, you know what, I feel like I could do better on this part. So then I scrap that and then I come back and rewrite it when I'm in the feeling again. So writing is interesting. I would love to be able to say that, you know, I do it 3 times a week or 4 times a week, or I do it X amount of times per month, but it's just not like that. There's times where I'm feeling more inspired and I'm ready to write a whole novel. And then there's times where it's like, I'm not feeling my lyrics right now. So I'm going to go produce. I'm going to work on my beats. I'm going to work on these vlogs, whatever it might be. So I'm always working. That's without a doubt. But the lyrics, the writing specifically, that it depends. It really depends on situations and everything else going on in life.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think you get caught up on easier? Like what makes a song take the longest to put out? Would it be the beat side and the production, or would it be the actual writing?
I would say the self-criticism in my own head. You feel me? Because again, I truly believe that compared to like my very first songs, I don't make trash music anymore compared to like the very first songs putting on SoundCloud that were just awful. Like my music doesn't suck anymore. So and this again, it's going to sound a little conceited, but I truly believe if I was to sit down, make a song and put it out, I could guarantee get X amount of views and I could do whatever. But if it's not real, it's not authentic, if I don't feel it, I'm being my own critic, then it's just not going to get out. It's just not going to be done. It's just not going to get finished. So I would say I get in my own way in that sense. And to anybody out there who might feel the same way, just keep writing, just keep working, because what is it? Like object in motion want to stay in motion. An object at rest want to stay at rest. So if I'm just sitting here thinking, yeah, I have no chance of making this song work today, well, then you're completely correct. You have no choice or you have no chance of making that song. But if you go in there with the mindset of like, okay, I'm just going to try and get one more line down. I'm only going to try and get 2 more bars finished. It might sound like a little bit, but once you get started, you're going to want to keep going and keep going. And so on. So I don't know. I would say I'm definitely my biggest critic. I'm my own worst critic or whatever. And that's what stops the progress on things. Cause I could, I say one line and I'm like, oh, that's corny. That's cheesy. I could say it better or whatever. Or, oh, I just don't like how I pronounce that one word. So I got to re-record the whole thing. It's just me in my own head. That's what I would say it comes down to, is me in my own head.
Love it. So you're a super independent person. How would you say outside criticism or even outside praise affects you? Like, does that push you certain ways, or how does that get into you?
100%. I love, like, again, growing up in a baseball and sports background, I love coaching, So when I have a buddy, Bo Johnson, who kills it in the music industry. He's been doing his thing ever. He put me on like one of my very first shows ever. I think it was my second show ever he put me on. But anyways, him and I, that's like my brother. I got nothing but love for him, but he just has a real great way of working in the industry. And so anytime he has any input, any 2 cents, I am more than willing to take it all. I want to hear every bit of his input. I love, like, just the other day, I went and checked out Australia has almost as many streams as I do out here in Salt Lake on my Apple Music.
Wow.
Like, what in the world? I've never been across the pond, baby. Like, you feel me? I've been in the lake and they hear me all the way over there. Like, that's a huge, huge thing to me. And so when I see that, it makes me feel like I'm on the right path. Yo, I might not be crazy for trying to be a superstar one day. You feel me? Like, this might not just be some crazy pipe dream, because even my own family, be like, yo, you got to get a job. You got to do this, that, and the other. But then when I'm on the radio and stuff, my mom and my pop and my grandma and everybody's like, oh, that's my boy. You feel me? So like, it's tough to gauge, because too much love, you're going to get an egotistical, blown up, I'm Kanye, I'm Drake, fuck the world, I should be blown up right now. You listen to all the hate, and dude, you'll never come out of your bedroom because it's so dark out there. Like, the internet's a scary place, you feel me? So I stay true to me. I make sure that how I feel is the most important thing, but I will always love to hear and notice the outside things, because that's how you can make sure that you're on the right track, or you're self-aware. You can kind of assess the situation a little bit, So that I would say that's pretty much it. I'm always open to coaching. I love hearing the positive. I love hearing the negative, but I take it with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, it's still me. And at the end of the day, whether they love the song or hate the song, it's still my song, So.
Have you always been that way? I mean, because when a lot of artists start out, they think that they're the best thing in the world, and then they have to kind of get beat down to be able to finally take criticism that pushes them up. How would you feel you've progressed like that?
I would say that I always felt like I was Kanye. I always felt like I was Drizzy. You feel me? Even with those first songs that were just doo-doo, I felt like I was huge. But I would say it took just a real honest moment of self-awareness, looking in the mirror, like really looking in the mirror and saying like, okay, it's not the world's fault that I'm not popping. You feel me? You have zero control over me blowing up. You might be able to help out. You might be able to, you know, listen to a song, spread the song, put me on a podcast. I would love all of the help, but you alone aren't going to be what makes or breaks my career, right? And so you got to be able to take that moment and look and say, okay, it's not everybody else, it's me. What am I doing? What can I do better? And I believe that just comes with, again, self-awareness and your true intentions. A lot of people start out in this because, again, like you said, they think they're hot shit and they deserve a Grammy right out the gate, and they just want to post up in Park City with $1 billion home. Well, my man, if that's the case, you better put out $1 billion worth of music. You feel me? Because sadly, the music you putting out is recorded on your iPhone, recorded in some fucking garage with your grandma yelling in the background. So like, is that worth $1 billion? Would you pay $1 billion for that? Hell no. You feel me? So I did sales all my life. And so I've always been the person to be like, yo, I understand value. I understand if someone wants it, they're going to buy it. And if they don't need it, they don't want it. Just like that. So I believe there's 7 billion people out in the world. Someone's going to like my music. Your favorite song is someone else's least favorite song. Your least favorite, someone else's favorite. So my music can do something out there, but it's all going to be on the approach. It's all going to be on me. Again, it's going to be my decisions on doing this or doing that. I mean, there are those instances where, again, like Roxanne, shit blows up overnight, but that is a great record. Yeah, it's overplayed, but it's a great record. It's a great record. So it's worth doing that type of stuff. There's some homies that I know out here that are like, I should be that everybody should be dancing to my shit. And then they listen to the song and it's like, no one should be listening to this, period. So I would say the self-awareness and just the true authentic, like, I want this. I love this. Again, my buddy passed away, and the only thing that got me through it was hearing his voice and hearing his instruments all on a 3-minute MP3. You feel me? And so I'm truly in love with this, and I truly feel like my story might be able to help a couple people. Like, I remember, again, moving around and being down bad and not having anything, and listening to Eminem, and Eminem made me feel strong. So I would love to be able to do that for somebody. So with me having that self-awareness and not just wanting the Grammy and just wanting to be the number one, I feel like I can look at myself and be like, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? If I really want to get to this point, what do I have to do to get there? Everybody's so, the world needs to happen to me, the world's doing this to me or whatever. I think it's the complete opposite. What can I do to the world? What can I do with the world or whatever? You feel me? So it's just a change of mindset. But I would definitely say that authenticity. Thank you. Authenticity. There we go. The authenticity matters immensely there. You have to really know inside what you're doing it for and what the purpose of it is. And then you're going to move on from there, you know? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So what are your thoughts on staying in Salt Lake? Because a lot of people say, you know, you have to move to LA or Nashville or New York or Austin to get big in the music industry, because that's where the fan base is. What are your thoughts on Salt Lake, and like, will you move someday, or just kind of talk us through that?
Yeah, I hear you. Since I've moved so many times in my life, I guarantee you right now, I will move again. You feel me? It will happen. It's just now in my human nature. It's coded in me. But I love Utah. I love Salt Lake City. This is going to be my home at the end of the day. I love the city. And I truly, I understand. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand. New York, popping. LA, popping. Nashville, popping. But why can't Salt Lake be that as well? Post Malone's out here all the time. Justin Bieber's out here all the time. G-Eazy's out here all the time. Drake flew out here not too long ago. Like, if this is already a hot spot to vacation, why not just make it also part of the Mecca? You feel me? Why not have it just be part of the entertainment world? I believe that there's so much talent outside of music here in Utah. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed like some of the filmmakers out here, but holy hell, amazing. Like putting on movies, literally movies. And so that one song, the Justin Bieber song, Holy. So holy. That song was written by an artist out here in Utah.
Crazy.
Written by a Utah artist and sold for big money. Well, think about that. Like, that just goes to show that I mean, my man wasn't in LA when he sold that to Justin Bieber. He wasn't in Nashville or New York when he sold that to Justin Bieber. Again, he was right here. So I believe it can happen anywhere. Thank God and thank the Lord for the internet. You feel me? Because without that, then you need to go to LA. You need to go to these places because they're the gatekeepers. They hold all of the power. Nowadays, though, dude, we live in an industry live in a time, an era where if you build your temple, you build your palace, the people will come. Instead of going and grabbing the people to build a palace, you build your palace and the people will come. And so I'm a big believer in just keep working, keep swinging the bat, and something's going to happen. I truly believe in that. So one day, yeah, sure thing. I'll probably move out and I'll probably leave the city for a little bit, but I definitely believe that I'm going to die here. I believe that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm going to be retired and I'm going to be chilling in the mountains right here because this is home. This place is beautiful. I love this place. I definitely believe that this place is going to be where I get my start. I believe that over the next 3 years, Young Yankee is going to go from a somewhat known name from some places in some regions to a worldwide known name, and it's all going to start right here in Salt Lake City. So I don't believe that I'm leaving anytime soon. Will I leave at some point in my life? I probably will, but this place is home. This place is mine. I do not agree that you have to go somewhere else to make it happen. If you want it bad enough, dude, you've got the internet and you've got everything you need right here.
I totally agree. And, that's something my team's starting to do is one thing we've heard from a lot of artists is the Salt Lake and the Provo scene has so much talent, but there's not infrastructure to match it. So We're trying to kind of fix that. So
agree.
Yeah, I totally think that's a great point. I love everything you're saying about how you're self-manifesting. You will get there. And I believe it. I mean, you're good and you seem to be thinking about things the right way and you have vision. So that's amazing.
Thank you, brother. But again, just keep on swinging. You feel me? Just keep on swinging. Keep striving for greatness.
Of course. So what advice would you have to new artists who are just starting out? Like especially on the business side, because I feel like they can sometimes get a grasp of the music, but they forget about the business things. Absolutely. What advice would you give them as a get going?
If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to be a business. As simple as that. You could leave it right there and you could take it real deep and start getting into thought. But the quick little explanation of it is that same person that hooked me up and put me on that tour not too long ago, he was the one that told me that, and it changed my life. He was staying at my house while we were on the tour or whatever. We were about to go to a whole nother city and we had a Salt Lake date. So we just crashed at my place to save money. Right. So, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning or something. We just played a show last night. I'm waking up tired. I'm like, why am I hearing noise right now? I should be asleep till 10 o'clock. Just that's how I am. That's how I was or whatever. That dude was in my bathroom recording a vlog at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Talk about if you want it to be a hobby, it's going to be a hobby. Talking about if it's a business, it's going to be a business. He wants it. He was willing to put in all of the time and effort into it. And that's why he was the headliner on that tour. You know what I mean? So for anybody that's wanting to pursue anything, music, drawing, fashion, you want to build a business and you want to be the next Jeff Bezos, dude, you got to keep striving for greatness. But if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it's going to be a business. Bottom line.
I love that.
Bottom line.
So what about your goals? What are you trying to accomplish short-term and long-term?
Short term, I'm trying to get this freaking project to hit 100,000 streams. I'm telling you right now, I want 100,000 on the first month. I've hit some big milestones. We have a record on YouTube. It's on another person's page or whatever, but it's still my song in the background. And it's got almost 2 million views. That was a huge moment. Wow. I want to be able to say on my own record that's got 6 figures on that one record, on that one track or whatever. So that's a short-term goal. That Deceitful Love joint, I think that's going to be the one that does it too. So I'm excited. I really think that that's going to be able to be checked off real soon. Long term, I'm selling out Madison Square Garden 3 nights in a row. You better believe that. One day, somehow, I've been saying that ever since I was little and first getting into this music. I'm selling out Madison Square Garden 3 nights in a row. And the third night, when that day comes, and on night 3, I'm definitely going to spend some time with Mama Bear and sit my little brother down and just talk about the whole story and think about, really reflect on this whole part, because I know one day it's going to happen. And it's the sacrifices that we've made just to get to this point have been astronomical. So the sacrifices that are going to take to get to that point, I'm prepared. But anyways.
That's awesome. Would you say if you hit, or when you hit night 3 at Madison Square Garden, I've made it? Like, would that be that point for you?
I want to say yes. But at the same time, I feel like I have to say no. Yes, because that's my goal, right? That's what we're talking about it. Again, I've been talking about it since I was little and all this stuff. Like, that's a huge moment. This is why I have to say no, though. Made it is a relative term. Made it could be monetary, X amount of money. Made it could be X amount of shows. Made it could be anything, right? This is my definition of made it. I truly believe, quote unquote, that I have already made it. Devin Wolf took his life, and because of him taking his life, I start making music. So there's one part of this half circle, okay? I put out a song called My New Chick, and I get a message as long as a mini novel from a girl in the UK who said that song saved her life.
Wow.
So that half circle is now complete. One life was taken. Now I start my journey, and one life was saved. I don't know if I've saved more people than that one. I hope I have, right? But at the end of the day, that doesn't contribute to if I've made it or not. The money doesn't contribute to if I made it or not. The record deals, I've had opportunities, but not signing. Even if I did, that doesn't classify me as making it. I believe I've already made it. I've already done my job as an artist because I saved that life. Now I'm just trying to make sure I pay the bills with this so I can continue to do so. You feel me? Now I'm just trying to make sure that it is a business full on, full through. Because again, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a hobby. So I'm making sure that it's still a business, and I'm still trying to move forward and progress monetary, like with the monetary side, with the accolade side, and selling out 3 nights in a row at Madison Square. I still have all of those big goals, but that isn't the determining factor of making it for me. To me, I've already made it. I've done my job.
That's amazing. Love it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate talking to you, man. It's been a good conversation, and I've learned a lot from you, and I think a lot of our listeners will get a lot out of what you said too, and your experiences.
I hope so, man. I hope if one person says, yo, I fucking like how he's talking about this. I like where his mind's at. To me, that's enough. To me, again, I did my job, so.
Yeah, that's amazing. Where can our listeners find you on social media?
You guys better go check me out at Young Yankee, Young_Yankee on Instagram. If you just Google Young Yankee, you're going to see everything pop up, from the YouTube to the Twitter to the Spotify and the iTunes music. So just Google the kid, look up Young Yankee on your favorite search engine, and you're going to see me.